The movie begins with a joyful celebration across the Pride Lands. All the animals gather to welcome the birth of Kiara, the daughter of King Simba. High above them, the wise mandrill Rafiki lifts her into the air, presenting her to the kingdom, and the animals bow in respect. Nearby, Timon and Pumbaa, Simba's loyal friends, celebrate with excitement. They're overjoyed to see Kiara, the future princess. And as Kiara begins to grow, her personality becomes clear. She's playful, curious, and full of energy, just like her father once was. She keeps wondering what lies beyond the Pride Lands, what's out there, past the borders. But Simba is always watching, always worried. He warns her clearly, never go beyond the lands he marked, because out there, it's dangerous. Kiara agrees, but she's not truly convinced. Meanwhile, Nala notices Simba's concern. She gently tells him that Kiara is just like him when he was young. But Simba can't hide his fear, so he turns to Timon and Pumbaa and asks them to follow her and keep her safe. And then, Kiara runs freely through the land, playing and exploring without a care. Until suddenly, she stops. In the distance, she sees something beautiful, a place she's never seen before. It pulls her in. She wants to go there to discover what it is, but it's beyond the border Simba warned her about. For a moment, she hesitates. And then, she feels something behind her. She turns and finds Timon and Pumbaa arguing loudly, completely distracted. Before she can react, she slips and falls into the water. Pumbaa jumps in after her, trying to help, but accidentally lands on her, almost pushing her deeper. Still, Kiara manages to get out safely. Trying to cheer her up, Timon and Pumbaa offer her something to eat, a mix of bugs. Timon proudly calls it a delicious variety, but Kiara looks at it, disgusted. He insists it's crunchy and tasty, and that she has to try it. But the moment she does, she instantly hates it. Slimy and awful. And just like that, Timon and Pumbaa start arguing again. And in that exact moment, Kiara sees her chance. She quietly slips away and crosses the forbidden border. As she walks deeper into the unknown, she suddenly trips and bumps into another cub. They both pause, surprised. Then slowly, they start talking. But before they can understand what's happening, something moves around them. They look down and realize they're surrounded. A group of massive crocodiles closes in, slowly, dangerously. The cubs freeze for a second, and then the attack begins. The crocodiles rush toward them. But somehow, the two cubs manage to escape. Breathing heavily, they stop for a moment. And that's when Kiara learns the truth. The cub's name is Kovu. And far away, hidden in the shadows, someone is watching them. His mother. And then, a powerful roar suddenly echoes through the land. It's Simba. He rushes in without hesitation, placing himself between Kiara and danger. Standing across from him is the lioness behind it all. Her name is Sira. Her presence is cold, filled with anger and hate. And we quickly understand the truth. She was loyal to Scar, and the cub Kiara just met, Kovu, is chosen to carry on Scar's legacy. Simba's expression hardens. He warns Sira, if she or her pride ever step into the Pride Lands again, there will be consequences. Then he turns, takes Kiara with him, and leaves. Meanwhile, Simba sits with Kiara, his voice firm but filled with concern. He tells her what she did was dangerous, that it must never happen again. Kiara listens, and this time, she promises. But far away, we return to Kovu, and now, we see his world. He has a sister, Vitani, and an older brother, Nuka. But Nuka is weak. He was never chosen. That's why Kovu carries the burden. Ziri approaches him slowly. She reminds him of who he is, the heir, the one meant to rise, the one who will take the throne of the Pride Lands. Her words are heavy, filled with hate, just like Scar. And as time passes, Kovu grows, stronger, sharper. He begins to look like Scar, not just in appearance, but in the expectations placed on him. Zira continues shaping him, feeding him anger, pushing him toward revenge against Simba. Meanwhile, back in the Pride Lands, Kiara has grown up, and now, the day finally comes. Her first hunt. The lions gather around her, encouraging her, but Kiara wants to prove herself alone. She asks Simba to trust her, and after a moment, he agrees. But still, he secretly sends Timon and Pumbaa to follow her, just in case. And then, Kiara begins her hunt. She moves carefully, watching her prey, but she struggles. Nothing goes right. At the same time, from a distance, Vitani and Nuka are watching her, and then, they make a move. Without warning, they set the land on fire. Flames spread fast, wild, uncontrolled. Kiara freezes, then runs. But the fire surrounds her, every path blocked. She runs harder, until she finally reaches a high rock. But she's exhausted. She can't move anymore, and the fire keeps rising. And then, out of nowhere, Kovu appears. Without hesitation, he lifts her onto his back and carries her away from the flames. At that same moment, Simba sees the fire from afar, and his heart drops. He runs as fast as he can. When he arrives, he sees Kovu, and for a second, he assumes the worst, that Kovu caused all of this. But then, the truth becomes clear. Kovu didn't start the fire. He saved Kiara. There's a long silence. Then Kovu speaks. He asks for one thing, a chance, to return to the Pride Lands, to be accepted. But Simba refuses. Cold, firm. He reminds him they were exiled long ago. But Kovu doesn't back down. He says something simple. He shouldn't be punished for something he didn't do. And for a moment, everything stops. Then Nala steps forward. She reminds Simba they owe him. He saved their daughter. Simba looks at Kovu again, still unsure, still uneasy. But in the end, he agrees. Kovu can return. But trust, that's another story. And then, they finally return to the Pride Lands. Kiara walks beside Kovu, grateful. She thanks him for saving her life. But from a distance, Vitani and Nuka are watching, silently. Meanwhile, the next day, Kiara asks Kovu to spend time with her, to meet her friends, and just enjoy the day. And so, they go to Timon and Pumbaa. At first, everything feels light. They laugh, play, and chase birds together. And for the first time, Kovu feels something different. Peace, happiness. For a moment, he forgets the mission his mother raised him for, to kill Simba. And slowly, he and Kiara grow closer, more than just friends. Because deep inside, Kovu doesn't want revenge. But Sira's voice is still inside his head. Meanwhile, from afar, Simba watches them, quiet, observing. He still doesn't trust Kovu. He doesn't know what to believe. And then, Nala walks up beside him. She gently tells him to give Kovu a chance. So Simba makes a small move. That night, he approaches Kovu and tells him to come inside, to sleep with them. It's cold outside. Kovu hesitates, then finally agrees. But far away, Vitani is watching everything. She runs back to Zira and tells her what happened. But Zira doesn't panic. She smiles, cold, confident. Kovu would never betray them. At least, that's what she believes. And then, the next morning, Simba walks out with Kovu. Just the two of them. He wants to understand him better. But as they move deeper into the land, something changes. The air grows tense. And suddenly, Zira and her pride attack. From all sides. Kovu tries to stop them, but he can't. The attack is fast, too violent. They strike Simba, leaving deep wounds across his body. And in the middle of it all, Nuka jumps in, trying to prove himself, trying to earn his mother's approval. He lunges toward Simba, but everything goes wrong. He slips, falls into a pile of heavy logs, and is crushed. Gone, in an instant. For a moment, silence. Then, Zira's grief turns into rage, stronger than ever. She blames Simba. And now, there's no turning back. She wants war. Kovu tries to stop her. He tells her this has gone too far. But she refuses. To her, this is the perfect moment. Simba is weak, injured, vulnerable. Meanwhile, Simba barely makes it back to the Pride Lands. He's exhausted, barely standing. Kiara, Timon, and Pumbaa rush to him. They help him, trying to treat his wounds. But at the same time, Kovu returns as well, hoping to explain, hoping to fix everything. But the moment the lions see him, everything changes. They don't trust him anymore. And Simba refuses to even listen. To him, Kovu is part of the attack. So Kovu is cast out. Again, this time, with nothing. He walks away, broken. Meanwhile, Kiara tries to convince her father to give Kovu another chance. But Simba refuses. His decision is final. And that's when Kiara makes a choice. She runs, leaves the Pride Lands behind to find Kovu, and after searching, she finally finds him. And in that moment, everything softens again. They're happy to see each other, relieved, together. They spend time again, laughing, playing, but this time, it's different, stronger, real. And then, Kiara looks at him and says something important. They have to go back, not to fight, but to fix everything, to bring their families together again, before it's too late. Meanwhile, a warning reaches Simba. Zazu delivers urgent news. Zira and her pride are on their way. They're coming for war. And without delay, the Pride lands prepare. Every lion stands ready. And soon, the two sides finally face each other. Zira and her followers, against Simba and his pride. The battle begins. Fierce, unforgiving. At the same time, Kiara and Kovu are rushing back. And from a distance, they see it. The war has already started. They run faster. And just as Simba and Zira are about to strike, Kiara and Kovu jump between them, stopping everything. For a moment, silence. Zira turns to Kovu, furious. She orders him to move, but he refuses. He stands his ground. He tells her he won't let her hurt Simba or Kiara. At the same time, Kiara turns to her father, her voice filled with emotion. She tells him, this has to end. It's time to unite, to live in peace. And for a moment, Simba hesitates. Then finally, he listens, he agrees, but Zira refuses. Completely. Blinded by hate, she orders her pride to attack again. But something unexpected happens. Vitani steps forward and says no. She agrees with Kiara. And one by one, Zira's followers begin to turn. They walk away from her and join Simba. Until suddenly, Zira stands alone. And in that moment, she makes her final choice. Revenge, no matter the cost. She lunges forward, grabs Kiara, and both of them fall from the cliff. The world slows down. Kiara manages to grab onto the rocks, holding on with everything she has. But Zira slips, falls into the river below, and disappears. Gone. Forever. And just like that, the war ends. The remaining lions return to the Pride lands. No more division. No more hate. They stand together, under one rule, under one king, Simba. And from that moment on, the land is filled with peace again. Lions and all animals, living side by side, in balance, in harmony. And this time, for real. And just like that, the story comes to an end.